It has been a long time since the New Orleans Saints lost 6 games in a row. In fact, the last time it happened, the franchise had just won one playoff game. The city was still dealing firsthand with the aftermath of the largest tragedy ever to hit Southeast Louisiana. And I was still in my 30s and could wear a bathing suit on the beach without someone raising the whale warning flag. But here we are. And even with the potential of Derek Carr coming back next week and playing a team in worse shape than the New Orleans Saints, there's literally nothing to cheer about. There's nothing that says we can't cheer each other up, right? Yeah, that's the spirit. Woo-hoo! Gonna cheer each other up. We're gonna have lots of fun. Mano E Monday is coming up, and so is the Dattitude podcast. Right now, as a matter of fact.
If you're looking for the latest scoop and in-depth interviews on the Saints, the NFL, the Pelicans, LSU, along with the best bets of the week, then lucky you. Along with high-powered, in-the-know guests who cover our teams, Jim Derry brings plenty of Dattitude. And he'll always tell you the way it is, or at least the way he thinks it is.
Where you at, New Orleans? That's right, we're here. Hello to all my friends elsewhere, everywhere out there who are trying to figure out the most creative way to ask me this morning, when will Dennis Allen be fired? I'll try to come up with creative answers. I don't think I need too much to tell you that this is Dattitude, episode number 301, presented by Evangeline Securities for a Monday, October the 28th, 2024. I am your host, Jim Derry. Oh, happy smiles. 34-year veteran in the sports media world, 11th year in broadcasting. I don't know that I've seen. It's been a while since, a long time. We're going to get to that. Long time since I've felt like I feel right now. I tell you what, whether you are watching live or listening after the fact, whether you comment today or don't comment today or whatever, I thank you for being a part of the Dattitude family. I need my Dattitude family today, maybe more than any day, right? I mean, we all need to be together. There's some interesting comments in the queue already. There were some comments in the queue before I even hit the button. I mean, y'all couldn't wait to get in there this morning. Rocky's yelling. I mean, he didn't say good morning. He said good morning in the second one, but he just jumps in and says, fire Allen. It's moronic front office. What are they doing? What do they see that we don't? We'll win. We won't win another game under this clown. I'm calling it now. Wait, you said we were going to be 3-3. What happened, Rock? Car or no car? We losing to the Panthers. A-Town, good morning. Saints got their asses served to them in an aluminum pan, also given a glass of humiliated punch in a Mardi Gras cup. He has no other way to say it. Hashtag shake my head. Charles says, good morning. Well, good morning to you. Bad weekend for Louisiana sports, LSU Saints and Pels. Ooh. Yeah, we're not talking about the Pels today. And if you don't know what they did yesterday, they stunk up the joint. Hope the Pels don't go on a 6-game losing streak. Just saying, they won't. Good morning, Randall. How about that Spencer Rattler? He was awesome. I'm not just picking on Spencer Rattler. They were all terrible. Kyle says tragedy is correct. Gary says, good morning. Saints are too old. Dylan says we're here. William wants to know, will the Rattler lovers finally admit Rattler is an NFL starting quarterback and never will be? That's way down in the list of the show today. I got to get to the dime. Y'all got a lot of stuff to say. We're going as we see him here early. Jason says, congrats on 300. Thank you. Caught the show after. Thank you. Gabe says, dear Mickey Loomis, there comes a time when your personal relationship and your business relationship must be severed. The time has come. I'm going to get into that as well. Jerry, the ever positive Jerry. I don't know that I've ever seen Jerry not positive. Jerry's saying 2-7 next Sunday. If Jerry's calling for a loss next week, you know the bottom is falling out. Telling you. We're gonna get back to some of these. We got a lot of comments this morning. I know we're gonna have them. Good morning, Douglas. There's other comments here. Summer says time for a new coach. I want y'all to try to find a creative way to tell me that. Don't just tell me Dennis Allen needs to be fired. Got to come up with it. You got to find a way to be creative. By the way, if you can be a part of the show if you haven't figured it out already. That's kind of what we are now. That's where the show has evolved. We have had fewer guests the past few weeks, and we've done it more with you. And it's not because I can't get guests. I can get guests whenever I want. I actually think that I enjoy this more. I think the Dattitude family enjoys this more, and we've kind of evolved into me talking to you and you talking to me. So that's where we are. You can be a part of it if you're watching live by typing in your comment on YouTube or Facebook. Of course, if you haven't done so already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to the Dattitude YouTube page. You'll always know when we're going to air live if you click the little bell, and which is every weekday except Tuesday, 11 a.m. Central Time. You'll have access to our show's shorts takes. And you can get in touch with me on X at Jim Derry Jr. or via email at jderry@theadvocate.com. Okay, it's time for the dime. I brought back the dime last week, and I said, you know what? Had some people ask for it. We're going to do it. We're going to do it every week now, at least for now. If they go 2-9 and 2-11 and not saying the same old crap, then maybe we'll get rid of it. I don't know, but I mean, I guess we just gotta go with the flow. I mean, I don't think any of us know what's coming up next, right? I don't know. Anyway, I was trying to put into context not just where Sunday's game fits into team lore, and I was trying to explain to my wife how far one might have to go back to do it right. We were talking about it last night and how bad this team is and where they fit. Katrina doesn't count because we all had so much more to worry about in 2005 than the sorry-ass Saints. So next on the list in chronological order would be 1999 and the days of Mike Ditka. That's right. Remember the Billy Joes, the trading of all one season's draft picks and more. We traded, I think, the next year's first-round pick as well for Ricky Kumbaya Williams. Boy, that lasted a long time. What about a receiving core of Eddie Kennison, Keith Poole, Andre Hastings, and Cam Cleland? There was one stretch in that 99 season where the Saints lost in back-to-back games, 43-12, 35-12, 30-14, and 31-8. That's right. Back-to-back to back-to-back. So I guess I have been way more down than I am right now. The difference is we all knew there would be change after that season, not only because common sense said so, but that even the dead man walking said so.
Like, did this team quit today on you? Did you feel?
No, they didn't quit, but there's not very much talent on the offense. None. That's my fault. I picked them. I thought I could play with them. I'm probably the wrong guy for this job, I'll say that. Probably better off getting somebody else.
Will you be back next year?
I don't know now.
Are you thinking about
yes.
Getting out of it?
Yes.
Would you quit right
I don't have it anymore. No, I wouldn't quit right now. But if I was fired, I'd quit right now. Other than that, I wouldn't quit right now. I have no...
management?
Mike, when you say it, what is it? You just said I don't have it?
No, I don't have it anymore.
Chris Dickens.
They broke me down today.
If one would have heard Dennis Allen saying that yesterday, would it have surprised anyone? Would it have shocked anyone? No. I mean, honestly, that's what he should have said yesterday. No different than what Mike Ditka said 25 years ago. That's a quarter century ago. That's the speech Dennis Allen should have given yesterday. But this team, no. You listen to Dennis Allen yesterday and the fact that A, he's not already out of here, and B, we can't be 100% sure major changes will be made, is unsettling. Each day that passes without change adds weeks to the time it will take to get out of this mess and to one day resemble the franchise we were once proud of. For me, yesterday's game was unlike the previous two that were blowout losses, and I'm not really sure why. Maybe it was because reality is finally setting in that this is the worst team that the Saints have ever put on the field in a quarter century. Maybe it's just now dawning on me that in 3 years there might be 10 players on this current team who will still be here. Maybe it's because with It was with absolute agony I was watching that game, and also with sheer and utter hopelessness. Spencer Rattler, Jake Haener, Derek Carr, who gives a damn? I'm sure we'll debate that today, this week, and probably for the rest of the season. But if any of those three is still here in a couple years, you'll know we're still deep into the abyss searching for a way out. I know watching the Saints play football was a lot like getting a tooth pulled yesterday. You know in the long run that it's for the best, but it sure as hell hurts right now. We've been spoiled. Even so, we deserve better. We can only hope the people who have a say-so agree with us. And that's the dime. It's painful. It's painful to watch this crap week after week after week. And the further they get into this, the more mad you get because of the changes that we have been talking about that should have been made for, I don't even know. Let's be conservative and say that we were being a little dramatic and overboard during the season last year, which we weren't. But let's just say we were. And that nothing was real until after the season. Okay, so that's 10 months ago now. 10 months ago, we were spewing that Dennis Allen, the same guy who went out there in the middle of the field and apologized to the Atlanta Falcons coach and went in and lost this team, clearly lost this team. We said it 10 months ago, but yet here we are in a worse shape than we were before. Carl Sherman says, beginning of the season, to the Carr haters, that if Rattler or Haener starts, it'll be a horrible year. I did say that. I said that if either one of those guys starts more than one game, it's going to be an awful year, and here we are. But it's not just because, look, I'm not blaming this crap on Spencer Rattler. I know I've said a lot of things about Spencer Rattler. I still believe them, but I'm not blaming any of this on him. This isn't his fault. It's not Jake Haener's fault. In the grand scheme of things, it's not even the offensive line's fault. It's the fact that the people who put this offensive line in this team together, it's their fault. You heard what Ditka said. Ditka thought he could play offense with the group that he had, and that it's on him. He took responsibility for it. He would only win one more game that season, and then he would go bye-bye. Douglas Thornton, Loomis will always fail. When a man cannot admit he's wrong, he will fail. Rocky's ready for the rebuild, the draft, and the training camp. Dylan says, guess what? Jameis Winston coming to town to destroy Allen's team. That's coming, man. What did I tell you? You want to talk about things I talked about in the offseason. Look, I'm not sitting here trying to brag about predictions because you know what? I said this team would be 7-10. I don't think they're anywhere near 7-10. So I'm going to be off on that. But what did I say? Not just about if Spencer Rattler and Jake Haener have to start more than one game, this team is doomed. And said that it would probably happen because I doubted seriously Derek Carr could go through an entire season without missing multiple games because of this horrendous offensive line. But I also said that I just had this sneaky suspicion. I have to go find the clip that Jameis Winston was going to come in here and start. What's going to happen in that game? Brian says if the sky is falling, Loomis would tell us the ground is just rising. We got plenty to say this morning. Chris Johnson says our defense stinks, and I think the play calling sucks. Well, that's one way to say it. Before we get to the rest of your comments and we get to Gabe and the rest of the show, let me tell you more about our friends at Evangeline Securities. We all need some positivity this morning, brother. After what we've seen on this football field for the past month and a half, we want positivity. I'm going to Evangeline Securities because they're a company that can help you decide if it's the right time to sell your family-run or privately owned business. And just as importantly, they can help you figure out what that business is worth. Sounds like it's time to reach out to Evangeline's founding and managing partners, Nick Braden and Ron Hemelt, both of whom were born and raised in the New Orleans metro area, spent a couple of decades in the big-time business world before coming home to the people they love. They will maximize the value for your business, and they do that by scheduling a complimentary valuation. What's next after the complimentary valuation? Well, then the ball flips to your side of the field. We'll tell you more about it later in the show. In the meantime, you can check them out at www.evangelinesecurities.com. We're going to have 2 clips for you this morning, telling you about Dennis Allen, and I told you what he should have said, and I played the clip from Mike Ditka 25 years ago. We're going to let you know what he did say. And I know you might have saw the beginning of his press conference. You probably didn't see. There were, to me, the more interesting part of his press conference was the end. He actually said, kind of a few things. But look, I don't know. DA has something on their organization. No, I don't think that's what it is. Rocky, DA is long checked out. I don't think he's checked out. Just here collecting a check. You're wrong. He's not just collecting a check. I don't think he's checked out. I think he's trying his best. His best just sucks. I don't think he's not trying. I think Dennis Allen's busting his ass. It's just not good enough. William, the regime will not make any changes till the end of the season. Firing midseason is not their MO. I think they're not going to have a choice if this keeps going like this. Jason Benson says this team seems so far from being competitive. That's exactly what I'm saying. We old, we slow. We obviously haven't been drafting as well as we needed to. Duh. We're in cap hell. This is years from being fixed, he says. Randall, great opening. Thank you. That's kind of where I am. I mean, this is not anything new. I mean, some of y'all are saying this, and you're just realizing that, again, I'm not giving myself a pat on the back. Jerry says it's not fun anymore. I know. I'm not giving myself a pat on the back. This is what I've been talking about for months and months and months and months and months. Not just now that they're 2-6. When they were 2-0, I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I believe it. It's fun. We're going to have fun with it. And we made fun of Cowboys fans and blah, blah, blah. And we all sat here and we enjoyed and we relished in it and whatever. I wasn't buying it. It's hard to buy. Winston's going to be eating the dubs, baby. Eating the dub. Eat you some dub. He deserves to. Not even root for him. I don't know. Oh, numbers went just down. I mentioned Jameis Winston. Having it again. V King. Thank you for watching on Facebook. Would you go be a part of our YouTube family? We love you, V. The fact that Mickey Loomis doesn't see Dennis Allen is a problem, and that's a problem. They both need to go. Apologize to the Falcons head coach was the beginning of the downfall. I mean, I might have to go grab a clip from that day. I mean, that's unacceptable. And I was texting with one of my colleagues. I was texting with one of my colleagues last night who doesn't, I think, thinks it's bad, but doesn't think it's as bad as I think it is. And it says it wouldn't have been this bad if Derek Carr would have been here all season. And I mean, y'all know what I think about Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr gets way too much grief. Still think that. But here's my point, and it's what I've been saying. If you lose, this team has no heart, okay? This team has lost its heart. And it really lost its heart at somewhere last year towards the end of last year. It got it back temporarily because I don't think it was just Dennis Allen. I think management got involved and somehow got Demario Davis and Tyrann Mathieu, and I think even Alvin Kamara on board and said, if you three jump on the ship, everyone else will follow. I think that's what happened, okay? But the problem is, at some point, with or without Derek Carr, the bottom was going to fall out. They were going to go through a mini rough patch, and the team was going to lose its heart again. With or without Derek Carr. A team without a heart, a team that doesn't believe in its coach, a team that won't follow the leader into the fire is doomed before you even start. Tyler Norris says, y'all ready for this team to win 4 straight games? Late for no reason other than to ruin a top 5 pick once again, never fails. I hope they do. I know I'm in the minority and I don't care. I'll still scream this till the cows come home. Losing does you nothing. Not a GD thing. Brian says, what do I think it would take for this team to win, in my honest opinion? A complete overhaul. I've been saying it for a long time. They need a complete. Y'all don't want to go through a complete overhaul. So y'all say, oh, that's a great signing and this and that and this and that and this and that. And all you do is it's not just, you don't just need to fire Dennis Allen. This team needs to rip up from the studs. And I'm talking about players. Ty wants to know my thoughts on John Gruden. No, he's too old. This team needs young energy. Joe, my man Joe. Joe, who's the Southern head coach? Maybe we can get the Southern head coach to come coach the Saints. Dennis Allen is the Jason David of coaching. My man Joe. He was in the band at Southern. I was in the band at LSU. We love talking about our experiences back in the day. A lot more fun then. Tell you that. We are going to talk a little bit about LSU because you know what? They folded their tent kind of like the Saints did on Saturday. Barry says, agree, the whole organization is working their asses off, but like the team, the front office just ain't good enough. Cue Jim Morris coulda, woulda, shoulda clip. I mean, I don't, at least no, because you can't compare coulda, woulda, shoulda. And I'm going to tell you why. Coulda, woulda, shoulda, that team was good. That team went 12-3. That's not the same ballpark. That team was definitely on the rise. That team came out of the abyss from the nadir, from nowhere. And Jim Mora was the young, promising coach. I mean, at the time, he was young, he was promising. I mean, let's see, just doing some quick math, that was what, almost 40 years ago? And Jim Mora's 88 now, so he was not quite 50. You need a coach that's younger than 50. This team needs like a 38 to 45-year-old up-and-coming guy. Ben Johnson, yeah, he's never going to come here, okay? It's not going to be Ben Johnson. He's going to get whatever franchise he wants. It ain't going to be him. Brian, if the Dallas Cowboys fire the coach at the end of the year, what do I think about New Orleans picking up as a new head coach? Did you listen? I'm not trying to be mean. Mike McCarthy is not a young coach. Mike McCarthy already, and if you don't realize this, and a lot of you young people don't, Mike McCarthy has already been a coach here, the New Orleans Saints. He was Jim Haslett's offensive coordinator for quite a few years. He coached Aaron Brooks. William, the root cause of all the Saints' problems is at the top. Loomis gives away his draft picks like candy. So did Sean Payton. Keeps us in salary cap hell, draft players who have extensive injury histories like Miller and Foskey. Did you see that Miller got hurt again yesterday? Hurt the other hamstring. Dude. In the offseason, we'll definitely have shows that relate to this training staff, by the way. TDB, absence of heart. Where's Shane Falco when you need him? Gabe says the next home game for the Saints will be like an away game. You know what's the worst part? And I said this last week too. You know what is the worst part about the next home game? You can see it on there on the screen. Saints are, I don't know. And I asked this of Zach yesterday, and I don't know the answer to this. I'm going to have to go back and look. By the way, this changed and I never fixed it. I meant to fix it. No, excuse me. It did not change. I changed the total. The total went down. When's the last time a team lost 6 games in a row, went on the road, and are nearly a touchdown favorite? I've never seen that before. Now, I don't know what I'm going to predict, but the Saints are probably going to they're going to be as healthy as they've been since probably the, Atlanta game. So I do expect the Saints to win, but how can you 6.5 point favorites? I know the Panthers are terrible. When is the Red Rocket coming back? The Red Rifle, whatever you want to call him. Michael Northwick wants a young and upcoming coach, unknown kind of, might find a gem, kind of like Sean Payton. Should have hired Dan Campbell. Don't get me started on Dan Campbell. You want to talk about somebody who's overrated and just was in the right spot at the right time? Dan Campbell. He's a horrendous game coach. I don't want anything to do with Dan Campbell. Sorry. Joe says Brian Flores and Eric Bieniemy were right there. I'm not a big fan. Eric Bieniemy's got issues. Brian Flores, I think that's kind of what this team needs, even if it's for a short period of time. Brian Flores, I'm not into retreads because we saw what happened. I think I could live with Brian Flores because I think he could come in here and he would definitely change the attitude of this team. This team needs an attitude adjustment, don't you think? Randall says we don't even have hope as Saints. We always have hope, even if it's just a little bit. Kyle says we're paying for the price of kicking the cap can down the road. It's what we talk about, right? You can't keep kicking the can. Pelicans Nola, what's up? Who dat? Hey, still screaming who dat? 3 to 5 year. I don't think there's ever a if it takes you 5 years to rebuild, then you're just inept. Kyle says Aaron Glenn, maybe. Aaron Glenn was here before Joe Brady. I don't think Joe Brady's. I don't know if he's head coaching material. Maybe. I'm not saying no. Gabe, I see you, Shay. I see you. You're like a bobblehead back there. Go look up Merton Hanks. You're Merton Hanks. We used to call Merton Hanks bobblehead. Y'all old enough to remember Merton Hanks? Let me get off topic for a second. San Francisco 49ers defensive back. Called him bobblehead because he was always doing this. Ban Bua. Are you banning Bua or is that your name? I guess your name is Ban. Anyway, break them up. Fire the entire coaching staff. Time to start over. Again. What's the hope with this team? There's always hope about everything. Nathaniel, hope is not a plan. You got that right. But I don't look, hope might be like shallow, might be way down there. Michelle, I'm gonna read your comment in a second. Might be way down there. But there's always hope. I mean, there used to be this commercial, and I think it was an Astros commercial back in the day. And it said, without hope, life is meaningless. And even though I don't like the Astros, I've adopted that phrase throughout everything. Without hope, life is meaningless. You have to have some kind of hope. Michelle says we need William Admiral McRaven for motivation. Larry, Merton Hanks used to do the chicken walk when he scored. Yep. And it's, I mean, that's back when the Niners were the Niners. And I think Merton Hanks playing with Dion. Didn't I pick the Saints to win yesterday? I absolutely did not. No, I did not. Nope. I'm not sure what show you were watching, but it wasn't this one. Did not pick the Saints to win. I had a very good day. See, maybe I'm not as upset because last night, I don't know. Part of it is you come to expect it, which is even worse. When you start expecting losses and you accept them because you expected them. But I had a really good day in the betting front. Let's just say that. Those of you who were making fun of my picks the other day, take a walk. I was right. Just saying. Hit a huge parlay. Now, I got a little lucky there at the end of the Commanders game. Did y'all see that? It could be way worse. What's the dude's name? Tyreek what? Gabe, tell me what his name. Tyreek. What's the idiot's name who was there? He was mocking the Commanders fans as Jaden Daniels was about to throw Tyreek Stevenson. Thank you. If y'all and I almost cut out the clip, I just ran out of time. Y'all think things can't be worse? How would you like to be the Bears right now? And I don't care. Oh, we got Caleb Williams. They've got way more hope. The Bears are the Bears. They suck. They're going to be the Bears till the cows come home. I'd much rather be a Saints fan than a Bears fan. I'm not kidding. Caleb Williams, I've been saying this. People don't want to believe me. Caleb Williams is never going to be a superstar in this league, and they wasted the first-round draft pick. They would have been just as good with Justin Fields. Now, that being said, they showed why they're the Bears last night and why Jaden Daniels could be a future star in this league. One play, it was a lucky play. Yes, but winners win. That's what Jaden Daniels did yesterday. Winners win. They got 3 touchdowns called back on him yesterday. He persevered. They're losing. They give up the lead. It wasn't because of Caleb Williams that the Bears came back. They got everything gifted to them yesterday. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent to tell you where franchises are. The Commanders, and it all starts with what? The right quarterback. The Caleb Williams got drafted first. Jaden Daniels didn't. It reminds you a little bit of what? last year. CJ Stroud, Bryce Young. I'm not saying, I mean, I was wrong on that one. I thought Bryce Young was way better than CJ Stroud. Ohio State quarterbacks can't do anything. They stink. Was wrong about that one. But I was right about this one. Jaden Daniels is way better than Caleb Williams. He's a winner. LSU misses Jaden Daniels right now. Just say that. Man, what a game. And then you got guys like this dude. I'm telling you, go look it up. If you haven't seen it, I'm not just talking about the play. You probably all saw the Hail Mary, but there's more to it. And I didn't see this until last night when I was just kind of going through X. Tyreek Stevenson, defensive back for the Chicago Bears, is literally mocking the Commanders crowd. Jaden Daniels is a franchise quarterback. Absolutely. No question that Jaden Daniels is a franchise quarterback. The dude is mocking Commanders fans as Jaden Daniels is about to throw the pass. He turns around and goes, oh, okay. And then even worse, he goes, and remember, what was it, Tom Jackson, they used to say when they'd have a Hail Mary, he'd go, knock it down. That's all I can think of. Is knock it down. And what does he do? He tips it up in the air to the guy that's standing in the end zone. Touchdown. Thank you for my parlay. Billy Joe says God loves Jaden Daniels. Maybe so. I love Jaden Daniels. I ain't God, but I love Jaden Daniels. Said Jaden Daniels too skinny to play in the league. And that's, Barry, exactly what I just said. He deflected. He went in. Not only that, he runs from the corner of the end zone where he's mocking Commanders fans. Oh, wait, here comes the pass. There we go, Gabe. Come on, man. Knock it down. No, he tips it up in the air and lets him go. What a moron. I haven't looked this morning, but if that dude ain't cut yet, I don't care who he is. He ought to be cut. It could be worse. See, it could be worse. All right. I'm going to bring Gabe in for a second, but I want to play this clip first because we're going to talk about LSU for just a minute. But remember, I was talking about Dennis Allen and telling you the difference between what we should have heard in the press conference yesterday with Mike Ditka and what we heard from Dennis Allen. In a way, they kind of say the same things. But, and I get it, Dennis Allen's not ready to give up on his job, but dude, I mean, you got to see the writing on the wall. You lost him, man. Should you quit? No, I guess you shouldn't quit. But how he's still employed, I really don't know the answer to that. What's the possibility? I mean, Gabe and I were joking. He still says zero chance, and I don't think it's zero, but I think it's like 1.5% this season can be saved. DA could be the manager of the new Buckies. DA can be a defensive coordinator probably somewhere else. But this 1 minute and 36-second clip doesn't make me feel great about his sense of reality. I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah, the message is it's the people in the room in there that are going to have to change it. Nobody's coming from outside the building. It's going to have to be the guys that are in that locker room, coaches, to fix it. I mean, that's what it is, and we have to pay better attention to all the details, and we have to do a better job of coaching all the details, because details matter in our league, and we don't get to pick and choose which ones do and which ones don't.
It's very easy to look at this and assume that the quarterback makes all the difference. What's bothering you most about the offense outside of just the quarterback?
Well, I just think just the fundamentals of getting in and out of the huddle, get lined up, let's get a ball play called, let's get moving here. I just thought it was sloppy today. And
Dennis, the Saints haven't lost 6 straight since 2005, and obviously that resulted in a lot of major changes after the season. Like you said last week, you don't worry about that stuff, but do you feel like when you're kind of in the midst of this losing streak that like you have to have conversations with like Mickey or the front office?
Yeah, look, we have conversations every day. You know what I mean? And so I don't feel any more sense of, having to have these conversations. Look, I think we all understand that it's a results-oriented business, and we need to play better football. I think we all understand that.
Questions from my friends Mike Triplett and Kat Terrell. Really? First off, go back to the beginning of that. When we were sloppy, this is sloppy, blah, blah. Why the hell are you sloppy? Whose fault is that? Calvin, this man said the same thing again. Could have just come out there and play last week's press conference. You could literally edit a laugh track into these pressers, Apathy says. I mean, whose fault is it that the team's not ready, which is what you say? The offense, this, that, blah, blah, blah. It's your fault. Ryan Shano, can't believe I'm going to say this, but we are about to experience home blackouts again. No, I don't know if they do that anymore. Do they still do that? I don't think they do that anymore. All the tickets are sold. You don't have to worry about that anytime soon. Hemisphere, DA does not want to take accountability over the team. He wants to put that on his assistant coaches and players. He is no true leader of men. I'm not going to argue with you. Jason, he picked these coaches. These are his guys. By the way, y'all still loving you some Clint Kubiak? I heard multiple people. I was watching some other shows. I'll get to you in a minute, Nate. I was watching some other shows over the weekend before the game, and people asking if Clint Kubiak is going to be the head coach if they fire Dennis Allen. Why would Clint Kubiak be the head coach? All that sloppiness on offense, that's not just Dennis Allen's fault. That's Clint Kubiak's fault. I don't care what string offensive line is playing. Nate Sherman says the problem is people in the building. That's what's got to change, starting with Mickey. Barry says, wait, didn't Loomis just say that is not a results-oriented business? Yeah, I think they all, it's kind of like politicians. I think any of them really say, they don't really tell you what they're thinking unless they're Mike Ditko, Jim Moore. That's why I like playing clips. Just admit it, we suck. I've been saying that for months. Clinton Kubiak. Kubi-whack right now. I mean, I've been saying for months this team's not good. I got beat up on a little bit early on. He's fired. Rizzi will be the coach. Assistant head coach. Absolutely, he will. He most likely will be. We've seen the Kubiak offense with a healthy offense. Give me a break. Give me a break. You saw it against the Panthers and then a train wreck also known as the Dallas Cowboys. Give me a break. Adam, we're done. Hainer plays better than Rattler. Sorry, Randall. I don't think it matters, man. We're going to get into that. No coordinator can win a game with that scrap heap of an offense. It's not about winning. Hold on. Give me a second without comments. That you led me into something that is on my list of things to talk about. It's not, of course, in the bottom line is about winning. Of course, everything in the grand scheme of things, we talk about result oriented. It's what your record is at the end of the season that matters. But when you're going through tough times in a season, and almost every team does every year, it's about how you handle those tough times. It's one thing to lose. You can make, I don't even like the phrase make excuses, but you can understand a team that goes through a losing streak because they've lost their key pieces on offensive line. We talked about Eric McCoy being the most important person in this offense, Derek Carr being second, and they're both gone. Chris Olave missed a couple games. And you see yesterday he had a great game in his return, or a good game. It's not just what the bottom line tells you, though. It's how you play. If you don't play with heart, and if you don't play with efficiency, and you're making pre-snap penalties, and you're holding consistently, that's on coaches as much as it is players. So I don't want to hear that this team couldn't win with, it was way better the first. That's because they hadn't quit on their coach yet. This is representative of what is here. So don't tell me that they can't play. I'm not talking about the fact that they lost a third straight game by 18 plus points for the seventh time, just the seventh time in team history. The seventh, it hadn't been done in 23 years is the last time it happened. They've lost 3 games in a row by 18 or more points. That's not just because their offensive line is banged up. It's not just because Chris Olave missed a game or two and Taysom Hill wasn't playing. I don't give a damn who's playing. You're a professional football team. You put this team together. It's your responsibility to have depth. So when players go out, you can at least be respectable and play like you give a damn. And I haven't seen this full team play like it gave a damn since the Atlanta game. That's on the coaching. And the problem is when you have a bad week or 2 bad weeks in a row, you find a way to change things. You find a way to play differently. The Saints have not only not played differently, but you could argue they played worse every week since losing to Kansas City. Or go back, losing to Atlanta. They played worse the next week against Kansas City. Adam says he thinks the coaches and players have given up. I think the players have kind of given up, but I don't think the coaches have given up. I just think they don't know what they don't know what to do. Charles Manga says, quitting on your coach, you're quitting on the fans. They don't care. Some of them will get mad when I say this. Randall says the drops and false start penalties aren't on Kubiak. Bullshit. Absolutely they are. It's part of practice. Absolutely it's on the coaches. It's just as much on the coaches as it is on the players. 100%. Charles Shulman says it's time to fire DA. I'll ask you to be creative in saying it's time to fire a coach. Patrick says it's a brown bag season. I like the white bags better. Remember the white bags they used to make with Buddy D? Gabe, this is before Gabe was born. But they used to make white bags, and they would change their – back in 1980 when the Saints went 1-15, you could – I forget where you could get these bags, but they would change the records every week, and they would print them out. They'd be 0-9. You had your bag. Then the next week you had to go get your new bag because it said 0-10 on it, and you'd wear it to the game. I like the white bags better. The culture is so bad. That's the problem. Jerry's back. You didn't want to hear. You turned it off when I played the Allen clip. I told you it was only a minute and 39 seconds. You didn't have to be going that long. Jason, their checks don't change with wins and losses. Players either buy in or they don't. Yep. Jason remembers the white bags. So does Charles. See, y'all old like me. Remember the 1980 season, man? I mean, look, when you talk about where's the hope, I always think about it's not just hope, but it's like, people say, can't be worse than this. Oh, yes, it can. Oh, yeah, it can. And Randall, you're young. You don't remember 1980. 0-14. 0-14 when they finally won their first game. They were beaten and I play this clip every now and then. I got to pull this one out. I haven't played this in a while. They were beating the San Francisco 49ers 35-7 at halftime and lost 38-35. Jerry says he doesn't care if it was 5 seconds. He still doesn't want to hear it. Can't blame you, man. Keep the dome empty. Miss Benson can find. Man, you see, again, I kind of pass over this. Adam says Allen isn't built for this. Coaches like Dan Campbell keep their teams respect. Yeah, but Dan Campbell sucks, okay? Dan Campbell is never going to lead that team to a championship because he's a terrible in-game coach. Stop talking about Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell is he's like Coach O, okay? Dan Campbell is a lot like Coach O. He fires up the team. Now, he'll never lose his team. They'll always believe in him, but he's a terrible in-game coach. He's got to have the right people around him, and he does, which is why they're talented. Jason says these younger folks don't remember what bad is yet. They're learning. Tickets might go back to $20 a game again. Look, you see that on the screen? If you can't see the screen, if you're listening after the fact, they play the Panthers, and then home for the Falcons. Oh my God. I cannot even fathom a Superdome full of dirty birds. Is that what's going to happen? A Superdome full of dirty birds? I think I might be sick right here on the set. Clean up on aisle 1. All right, look. I'm coming back to the Saints, I promise. I still got an Alvin Kamara clip that you're going to want to hear because it's telling. He had an interview with my friend John DeShazer, who we were colleagues for a long time at Times Picayune, who now works for the Saints and the Pelicans. It is so telling. If you didn't hear it, you got to hear this, okay? So I'm going to get back to the Saints, but I do want to talk a little bit about LSU, just briefly. And I'll get Gabe's thoughts as well on the Saints, but let's bring in Gabe Henderson real quick because, Gabe, this was a lot like LSU is kind of like a portrait of what was to come for this entire weekend. I mean, leading at the half, playing great football, and this just kind of fell apart, and they played a lot like the Saints did in the second half.
I tweeted this out after the game. Jim, do you know the last time LSU led by double digits at halftime and was outscored? They essentially blew the lead. They were outscored by 11 or more in the second half.
I do not. I didn't look at any history of this crap.
2005 against Tennessee.
I was there.
That was a historically bad performance.
That was I'm gonna tell you something about that game. Game was miserable. It was right after Katrina, and it was, if I can remember correctly, I think it was right after Rita as well, which hit Baton Rouge hard. And the thing about that game is it was correct me if I'm wrong, but it was either like late September or early October.
It was early. I think it was the second game of the season.
Okay, so it was a night game, but it was miserably hot, like even for us hot. It was like one of those like just humid games where it was miserable. And what you said, LSU had a lead. I do remember that game, and that was just a miserable night at Tiger Stadium. And
it was a miserable night at Kyle Field on Saturday.
Yeah, it was. Summer says she was there. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Yeah, I had a lot of. I did an instant reaction on that a short, and got a lot of A&M fans chiming in. It was fun. By the way, Hakeem Batista's in here this morning. He was telling me something about how I'm protecting Garrett Nussmeier because he's my favorite quarterback. He's my boy. I'm like, where do people get that Garrett Nussmeier?
I don't know where. I don't know where that came from.
Me neither.
I agree, Randall. I don't really want to talk about it, but at the same time, I do.
Right,
first off,
go ahead.
Let me start with this. If you're blaming Garrett Nussmeier, if you're blaming Brian Kelly, if you're blaming Joe Sloan, if you're blaming Blake Baker, if you're blaming one individual,
right,
you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Summer lives about 20 minutes from me.
That's close to you, Humble, Texas.
Yeah, it's about 20 minutes from me. Anyway, so if you're blaming one individual, you're wrong. You're wrong. Garrett Nussmeier had 3 interceptions. Sure, that did not help. He imploded. LSU also ran the ball 22 times for 33 yards. The kicker also missed 3 kicks. Well, 2 and then.
Well, and one hit the holder in the face,
Yeah.
and then he didn't even get up and go chase after, which was bothered me.
And then the defense allowed 4 consecutive scoring drives.
Right.
And here's, I'm glad Adam said this because this is, and Jim, I don't want you to chime in here because we talked about this and I know what you're going to say.
Okay.
But I want to talk about something real quick. More than anything, I blame this loss on the coaching staff. Because, and Greg Penn said this after the game, he said they did not prepare for Marcel Reed, which is just ignorant. He's not your average backup quarterback. He's started 3 games this season. He's played in 5. And not only that, look at the Missouri game for A&M. Missouri came into the week preparing solely for Marcel Reed. A&M started Connor Wegman. Missouri got their clocks cleaned. There was a precedent set by Mike Elko and A&M as to what they would do if their quarterback wasn't playing as well as they wanted. And Brian Kelly and Blake Baker spent all week preparing solely for one quarterback. Everyone and their mother knew going into this game what you had to do to beat A&M. You had to stop their rushing attack, and they didn't prepare once for a mobile quarterback. I'm not saying, because you brought up a point when we talked about this. You said, you can't spend all week preparing for 2 quarterbacks, and I'm not asking them to do that. But you have to have a backup plan. You have to have some sort of plan, because A&M has played him in 5 games this year. There was a precedent set that he has played before. It wasn't an impossibility that he was coming into this game. It was, the announcers were saying it before half. What if Marcel Reed comes into this game?
Here's
and
my
he did.
Here's
and
my
he
problem
looked fantastic.
Here's my problem with this. First off, I'm not saying the coaches don't deserve blame, and I didn't say that at all, because they do deserve blame. My bigger problem is not that they didn't prepare for him that much during the week, because look, you're just not going to. You only have so many practices, so many hours of practice, and so many what you do. So
you
can only
have to prepare.
Hold on. You can only do so much, and the dude had only played I think it was something like 13 or 14 snaps in a month.
5 games, Jim. He's played in 5 games this year.
He hadn't started since September. Okay. So I don't want to hear that. Okay. So
A&M had a bye week.
Hold on. Here's my point. My point is this. With the coaches, what I have a problem with is the coaches not being able to adjust in game. What LSU's strength is on defense is supposed to be is against the run, period, whether it's a mobile quarterback or whether it's a running back. I don't really give a damn. It doesn't make a difference. So the fact that they didn't adjust in game is what I have a problem with more than anything. So
can I say one thing on that?
Go ahead, because we do have to get back to Saints, and we're almost an hour.
This is I would agree with that. However, I don't think Blake Baker had time to adjust in game, because Nussmeier turned the ball over so quickly, and that offense went 3 and out so many times in the second half. The defense was essentially playing.
Yeah, but you at some point
the whole time.
Yeah, but
and I agree. But
you gotta adjust.
LSU's. Greg Penn's fantastic. He's been great this year. Greg Penn is not suited to play against a mobile quarterback. LSU needs speed at the linebacker position when you play a mobile quarterback. And Whit Weeks was invisible.
100%.
Invisible.
All that talk about him must have went to his head, because he was 100% invisible.
A complete non-factor. And then just one more note on LSU. The offensive play calling has to change.
I agree.
Joe Sloan has been frustrating all year, but they've gotten away with it because they played Arkansas and UCLA and Nichols. It is so damn predictable.
Well, I mean, they beat Ole Miss too, but they
did. They did, but the offense was terrible for most of that game.
That it's just predictable. It is.
He's not playing to the strengths.
There's not a whole lot of thought. I mean, that's not the right way to put it. I'm sure they would tell you, well, of course
you have 2 first-round tackles, and you don't try and run behind them. Yeah. You insist on running the ball up the middle out of the shotgun.
I was
yelling
at the TV
no
saying that
sense.
the other night. 100%.
They've been doing it all year. All year. They haven't tried to run the ball outside.
And they just go to show when they do try, and Caden is able to run the football. I mean, he's been most successful going around the left side, which obviously you're going around Will Campbell's court. That's the way to go. So, and then this game, you got a 3rd and 1, and then you just run it straight up the gut into their strength, which made no sense. And you cost yourself several times. You cost yourself at the bare minimum moving the football closer to kick a better field goal, and maybe you don't miss the field goal.
The play call on I think it was like 3rd and 23 on the 31 or something like that, where they ran the ball just to concede for a field goal for a 48-yarder.
Yeah, I agree.
Which is a career-long type. Crazy.
Yeah, frustrating.
Absolutely crazy. And I agree with Kyle. I don't think he's ready for play calling fully.
Yeah.
And on Nussmeier, it was a really poor performance. He had no help from his running game. The offensive line was shakier than it has been. He's going to have
a nice way to put it.
Yeah, he's going to have these. He's going to have these games. He's a first-year starter. It's unfortunate it happened when it did, but I can guarantee you he won't have that game next time he comes out.
Yep. No, I agree.
It's going to happen, and I think all of the people going into the week saying that he's perhaps the best quarterback in this draft class, he's not. You saw a raw Garrett Nussmeier over the weekend, and I think that's why he needs to stay another year.
Before we move on, the one thing that was pissing me off more than anything is the fact that You had the numbnuts coming out of the woodworks. You haven't heard from them for 6 or 7 weeks. The Brian Kelly needs to be fired. Where have you been the last 6 weeks, jackass? They lose, and now you're saying he should be fired? Oh, Garrett Nussmeier sucks. Where have you been the last 6 weeks, numbnuts? I hate when people come out of the like cockroaches, come out of the woodworks, and they haven't said a damn thing for weeks. Oh, here's my chance to tell you so-and-so sucks. Piss off, man. That's what bothers me more.
You know, I will say this. All credit in the world to Mike Elko.
Yeah.
I've been saying for months, I think A&M was going to win this game. I flipped midweek, which I shouldn't have done. I said A&M was going to be better than I thought this year. They are so much better than I thought. Even I thought they would be.
Defensively, they're really good.
Defensively, yeah. Mike Elko is a hell of a coach, and he deserves a lot of credit.
Defensively, they're really good. All right, look, before I let you go real quick, just get your thoughts on the Saints. I mean, Derek Carr is supposedly coming back this week. I mean, I don't know. I mean, does it even matter? I mean, what do you
It doesn't matter.
I mean,
I hate to sound negative, and people jumped on me over the last few weeks for saying it, but from an outside perspective, I mean, the season's over.
Oh, the season was over 2 weeks ago.
Saints,
really.
You have to go 7-2 to make the playoffs, and that's just not going to happen. It's just not.
Well, I mean,
Derek Carr or not. I mean, I agree with what everyone's been saying all show. It's time to rebuild. It sucks. Rebuilds are not fun unless you're an absolute sicko. And you want to see your team. This is the biggest thing with the Saints is you want to see, even if your team is bad, you want to see them be competitive. That's all I ask. You often allude to me being a Texans fan and going through a rebuild recently. All I asked going into that year, I knew the Texans were going to be bad. All that I ask is that they show some fight and they keep games close. And you're just not seeing that out of the Saints. You're really not.
Sean is going a little overboard here. Kubiak's play calling over the last 6 games currently looking worse than the clip portal. No.
And this is what, after the first 2 weeks, I was telling people to temper their expectations with Kubiak because we've seen, he's been an OC before. A lot of people might not realize that. And it wasn't great.
Right.
Yes, it was. They were at full strength.
He's young, though. I mean,
he is.
He's shown,
and his family has hell of a history being an offensive mind. I love Gary Kubiak.
You know that,
yeah. I'm not ready to give up. He's not the main problem with this team, but there are some faults. You've seen him.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll talk again on Wednesday when we have.
One more quick. Well, two quick notes. First off, did you see Anthony Richardson's stat line?
Oh yeah,
and him taking himself out of the game.
Sent it to me, or a friend of mine had sent it to me.
It wasn't me that sent it to you.
I think it was my son that sent it to me. Go ahead, repeat it. It is, and he took himself. Out of the game because he was tired.
Yeah, on a 3rd and goal from the 21.
He took himself out of the game. His own plug.
I've never seen that before.
Neither have I. Go ahead.
Never seen that before. I mean, it was. I don't know it off the top of my head. He was something like 10 for 32 or 8 for 32.
Hold on.
And most. So I know he finished with 175 passing yards, 69 of which, and he had 81 at half.
10 of 32 passing.
At halftime, he had 81 passing yards. 69 of them were off a Josh Downs touchdown, where one of the other receivers set a pick on the corner and set him free. So it was a free touchdown.
I love when people give me grief for saying
oh my goodness.
I mean, he was never going to be. I'm not. Look, and I don't mean that. I'm not saying this to be funny. I'm completely serious. If I had to choose, like, you got to go the next 5 years with one of these next 2 guys as your starting quarterback, and I was given the choice of Anthony Richardson or Spencer Rattler.
Stop.
I would take Spencer Rattler.
No. At least Anthony Richardson has rushing upside. At least he can use his legs. He's still a freak athlete.
No, because Rattler is a way better passer than, and I'm not exaggerating. He's a way better passer than Anthony Richardson.
Well, Richardson's got a stronger arm. Rattler's got better accuracy, which is
way better
insane.
accuracy. Saying something.
And then the last thing, after the Cowboys game last night, did you see what Trevon Diggs did?
Oh, he didn't play, did he?
No, Trevon Diggs played. And then after the game, he went like 5 to 10 minutes after the game was over. He went and got into it with a reporter for something they tweeted. He came out of the locker room and went to go face that reporter face to face and yell at him, which means that Trevon Diggs, immediately after their crushing loss, hopped on Twitter, and that was the first thing he did. And that's insane to me. That's almost as bad as Tyreek Stevenson.
I've been yelled at by players before and asked me how many times I've given a bleep.
No, I know. It's insanity to care that much about something so inconsequential after a loss. I just thought it was hilarious.
All right, well, get. I can't wait to hear what you got from me on Wednesday. I'm sure you'll dig something up deep.
Sure, I will.
Deep. All right, Gabe Henderson, everybody. Anthony Richardson. Whoo, it's bad. I got a couple things here coming up. Randall, I'm going to answer your question after I give some love to the sponsor. Did I think Haener looked better than Rattler? I have an answer for that. But first, and I got to play the clip from Alvin Kamara. Again, we still got a couple more, and I am absolutely cutting it off at the 120 mark. We're not going over a 120 anymore unless it's like for a really good reason. And we're getting close. And again, I got to answer that question, and I got to get to Kamara. We told you earlier we will let you know more about how Evangeline Securities can help you figure out what your family-run or privately owned business might be worth and whether it's time to sell. Well, how do they do it? I assure you they do not call Dennis Allen to ask his opinion. They don't let Spencer Rattler come in and run the formations either. No, rather, after their complimentary evaluation of your company, if you decided to proceed, native New Orleanians Nick Braden, Ron Hemelt, and the folks at Evangeline will begin an extensive auction process among established private equity funds from around the world. And they'll maximize the return process for the founder and his or her family. Evangeline Securities is the top producer on their platform. Very few companies like them in this area. None with their dedication and success. They are fully licensed and ready to serve you. So get in touch with Nick and Ron about what is really important, and that is the rest of your life. You can find them at www.evangelinesecurities.com. Okay, Randall. Do I think Haener was better than Rattler? I'm going to answer that by saying, first off, I'll give you the answer after I tell you who gives a damn. I don't think it matters one iota which one is better. If either one of these two clowns is starting at any point in the near future, then just give up. That's what I say, give up. Who cares? But in answer to your question, yes. I don't even think it was that close, to be honest. I know the stats are kind of close, but Haener, at least, they flowed much better when Haener was in the game. Olave dropped the ball that would have put him in position to score a touchdown. They should have, I guess, should have, would have, could have. It doesn't matter. They still would have lost the football game. So, but I don't think it's close. And if you think that Rattler looked better than Haener, then you were watching a different game than I was watching. And you can't give an honest opinion about what you saw. Just saying. But again, I'm going to go back to it's what I told y'all before. Or he's now he's only played 3 games, blah, blah, blah. I know this much. In the, what did he come out in the middle of the third quarter? I'll even throw out the third quarter. 10 quarters. Okay. The last 10 quarters he's played. Oh, I'll take that back. 2, 4. Last 8 quarters he's played. They've kicked 2 field goals. 6 points in 8 quarters. Just saying. Haener let him into scoring position 3 times. In a quarter and a half, Jason Benson. If you think if you think Rattler's better than Haener still, and Rattler's only played 3 games. Haener's only played in what? Haener's played less time in a professional football game than Rattler has. A-Town, do I see any trades with this team before the deadline? Sure hope so. They got to, the problem is Lattimore got hurt again yesterday. He got hurt. I'm so sick and tired of Marshawn Lattimore. He's got to go. He should have gone before the season, but no. And I'm going to go back to this, and some of y'all might get pissed off, and I don't care. I love Alvin Kamara, and I'm about to get in Alvin Kamara. I love Alvin Kamara. He's certainly on the Mount Rushmore of Saints. There's no question about it. There's no question about it that Alvin Kamara belongs in the Mount Rushmore of Saints. But man, are we really signing? I mean, it's too late. They already did it. I mean, they might be able to trade him in the offseason. They won't. But you sign a soon-to-be 30-year-old running back to a 2-year extension for $12 million a piece? Doesn't make any sense. Make it make sense. This team, how many times do we have to say? It needs to start the 3-year at minimum rebuild process now. And you're signing an old man to come and play running back. For what? Alvin Kamara can't carry this offense by himself. He can't. John Pace is nobody on this team that you have to keep for a rebuild. No, Johnny Culpepper. You don't tank Shedeur Sanders. No. I'd rather Travis Hunter. I know he's had a quarterback, but I'm taking a Buffalo. It's Travis Hunter. No, you do need a quarterback, but no, not Shedeur Sanders. Randall has a legacy contract for Kamara. I understand that, but you can't. This team's not in a position to do legacy. They weren't in a position to do a legacy contract when they gave one to Cam Jordan. You want more proof this team is just old? Here was my front page for today. If you didn't see it before you clicked on the show, I'm going to show it again right here. You know what this is a picture of? Justin Herbert running down the field for 38 yards. A career-long 30. Justin Herbert is outrunning Willie Gay, and somewhere way back there, and this picture doesn't do it justice. Look how far back Cam Jordan is. He can't catch Justin Herbert. None of them can. Saints are embarrassing themselves over and over and over again. I don't know what else to say about it, except to say that and then they're embarrassing themselves in other ways. I mean, before I get to Kamara's clip, I'd like to get your opinion on this. Did y'all see what Nathan Shepard did yesterday? Then he got his ass whooped. And I was rooting for the Chargers at that point. What the hell was Nathan Shepard doing trying to twist Justin Herbert's leg? If I were the coach, I would have pulled that ass out of the game immediately, and he wouldn't play for at least a week, maybe longer. That shit don't fly. He got his ass whooped. No cheap shots. Sad. I mean, I know people get frustrated, players get frustrated, but that ain't how you do it. You don't play like that. It's sad. That's where this team is right now. Such a dirty play, as Gabe says. Just such a ridiculous, dirty play. Colin Saunders is on fire. Hardest working man in the field. I don't disagree with that, Jason. All right, I'm going to play this clip because we're about 10 minutes away from ending the show. And this clip will kind of tell you, I think, where this team is at. You don't even really need to read through the lines. Again, my friend and former colleague John DeShazer talked to Alvin Kamara after the game. And I think it tells you where the veterans are right now. They're done. They don't necessarily know what the answer is. That's the problem. By the way, breaking news, sort of. LSU Alabama is a 6:30 kickoff. I don't think anyone's surprised with that. It'll be on ABC. But here's Alvin Kamara, 1 minute and 44 seconds, basically telling us, dude, I don't know what we do.
Not exactly sure where to begin this, Alvin. I mean, how does this stop? This is 6 straight, and how does this stop?
6 straight. I mean, I kind of feel like it's been a little bit of the same story these last 6 weeks. I don't think we're a team that's very committed to detail right now, execution. I don't think we have pride in those things, the details or the execution. Because if you would, then we wouldn't have so many other ailments that we have right now. We got a lot of pre-snap penalties. We have a lot of bad going on. And I think I said it earlier. You know, those little details is what wins games and loses games in the NFL. And when you don't do those little details well, it becomes very, very glaring, and the results become deserved. When you do it to yourself, you deserve it. So,
How does the cycle snap? How do you break it? How do you get out of it?
I don't know right now. I think it's a lot of looking ourselves in the mirror. I think my tone, I think throughout the weeks is just, I'm focused on locker room. The guys in the locker room. So, I don't like losing. I'm gonna go probably get with the captains and figure something out, talk about something and see what the message has to be. I mean, because at the end of the day, we're the ones out there playing. So nothing else really matters unless we all on the same page. So I'm not saying that to say that the player wise locker room, I don't think we're not on the same page. I just think that there's some stuff going on that we just need to discuss openly.
3 things. Last thing he said, some things going on. We're not all on the same page. I'm not saying it's just us. What does that say? It means they ain't on the same page with the coaching staff. It's what we talked about in the offseason. You don't need to be a genius or rocket scientist to read through the lines. One thing I loved about Alvin Kamara the past couple of years since Sean's been gone is when it comes down to it, he's going to tell you, pass time for that conversation. Never pass time for that conversation. Got to have it. Got to have it. But there are 2 other things that stuck out to me. He used the word pride at one point, and basically that they don't have any. I've seen him play a couple games where it didn't look like he was busting his ass enough. Now, come to find out later on, he was sort of injured. So maybe that had something to do with it. And I'm not blaming Alvin Kamara at all. Not even a little bit. I love me some Alvin Kamara. But he basically came out and said, look, we got to get together as captains, because at some point you would hope that the captains would get together and say, you remember in Major League when, dude gets up there and says, F you, Joe Boo, I do it myself. I kind of think that's where the captains are going to be. They're like, the hell with this. We're just going to do it ourselves. I think at some point, and you talk about hope, there's really no hope in the grand scheme of things for this season. There's no hope in the grand scheme of things that you don't have major rebuilding to do. But as far as the short term, if you want to see better football, I do think that you're going to see the captains get together and say, the hell with it. We're just going to do it ourselves. Kind of like Derek Carr did last year. At some point, he just took over when he got tired of the clipboard holder and said, I'm just doing this. People don't realize Derek Carr just took the offense over and said, we're not doing this crap anymore. And I'm not blaming this on Kubiak, and I've said things about Kubiak today, but I'm not talking about just the offense. I'm talking about the team as a whole, because the third thing that he said in there that I thought was glaring was the part when he said, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know what we do. But I guarantee you that some of these guys aren't going to just sit there and rest on their laurels and accept this. Will it matter in the grand scheme of things? I don't know. Play for pride, absolutely. Kevin O'Quinn wants to know, why doesn't Dennis Allen get fired? It starts there. Players don't want to play for him. That's his problem. I'm not sure what else anybody needs to see. Again, I hate to bring up this point, but it's the truth. And it's hard for me because it's just hard for me to advocate someone being fired. It just is. Because I've been in there. It's brutal. It is just awful for the person being fired. I don't wish that on anyone. But at the same time, you got a fan base that can't watch this anymore. This is what they pay for. This is why they buy the merch. And even the people who can't afford to buy the tickets, some of them, they don't live in New Orleans. They might buy the Sunday ticket so they can watch the Saints or whatever. Or they'll go buy the Taysom Hill jersey and whatever. They pay the money. And they can't watch this crap anymore. Dennis Allen will get a job again somewhere as a defensive coordinator. Summer, he will absolutely get a job again as a defensive coordinator, but he's not a head coach. And Sherry, you say, how do we get Mrs. Benson to hear what we say? In the middle of the season, it's not Mrs. Benson. Okay. It is management. It is Mickey Loomis, and it is Dennis Lauscha, and it is Kai Harley. They've got to be the ones that say, all right, this season's going nowhere, and we got to make a change. I hate advocating for someone to be fired, but you can't keep watching this over and over again. It is like torture. Yesterday was like torture. I'd like to see Allen correct the ship, but it's been long enough. He obviously can't fix it. Right. And that's why I said when they made the decision, ship DA's ass to Denver. Yeah, I don't even think maybe Sean Payton will take him. I don't know. They already got an defensive coordinator. Look, it gets to this point. I just don't know. I mean, why wouldn't you is my question. I've always said that during a season, I don't make a coaching move until I'm certain the season's over. And I'm not 100%, but I'm 98.5%, and that's enough. Jerry says Gail Benson needs to have tough skin to make tough decisions. She's not going to make that decision. Douglas, Loomis has to drop his pride and admit it is a bad hire. Take responsibility. Kevin Oakland, when the Dome has no fans, we've gone through games when they didn't have any fans. They brought them back. Charles says sometimes you need to get fired. I don't know, man. I didn't necessarily need to get fired 3 times. Just saying. Sherry says, give me management's number. It's up to us fans. What you going to say, Sherry? Do me a favor. When you make that call, record it, and we'll play it here on Dattitude. Jason Benson says she'll give Aunt Gail a call. Douglas, I'd like to laugh, but I just can't. It's not funny. At some point, it just stops being funny. I could sit here and say funny crap and y'all laugh, and that's good and blah, blah, blah. Good show. At some point, when do you just say enough is enough? Real quick, I'm going to finish with a final thought on the Saints, but I do want to very quickly, my thoughts on Monday Night Football, like I like to do here every Monday. Giants spread down to 6. It was 6.5 at the Steelers. If y'all were watching the show last Thursday, you already know that this is one of my top 5 picks of the week. Trying to go 4-1 and win my top 4 picks. The only one I've lost so far is I don't know what I was thinking. Taking the Panthers at my number 5, my 1-point pick, my 5th pick. I think it was just one of those. Everybody's going to be betting on the Broncos, so you bet on the Panthers. No, that didn't work out. But I got all the other 3 right. Even the Jaguars. But the Jaguars. Some are like Steelers. So do I. It is one of my best bets of the week. I just think that, and look, I know we've been through this with the Giants are better on the road. And I love Brian Daboll, but again, Mike Tomlin at home in a game that they have to win. Again, their schedule is about to get tougher. Maybe it's not as tough as we thought it was going to be, but the way the Steelers are playing defense right now, I just don't know that the Giants can be able to score all that much. Danny Dimes pissed off at the world. You got yanked from the game last week. Give me the Steelers. I actually like the Steelers in the under, even though that is a low under. I think it's going to be like 17-10, 17-9, 19-10, something along those lines. Low scoring. We'll see. Jaguars did not cover by the hook. It was 4.5. It's 4.5 on Thursday's show anyway. And I got to be honest, I don't give a damn if they cover by the hook or they cover by the whole fishing pole. As long as they cover, that's all that matters to me. Charles, Uncle Big Nick, told you last week. Go back and watch it. Ravens losing to the Browns. Jameis Winston. Uncle Big Nick. Just saying. He is hot in October. He is on fire. I mean, I'm doing well in October. Uncle Big Nick is ripping it up. Gabe, did you win this week? Gabe has won, I think, 5 out of his last 6. Summer, the Commander's Hail Mary put you in a hole. It was really nice. I'm sorry, Summer, but it was really, really, really nice for me. I'm just saying. Really nice for me. Douglas says Commanders are his new second team. Jaden is making us proud. Hey, look, there you go. That's one way to look at it, right? You know? If the Saints suck, you might as well have somebody to root for Jaden Daniels. Sean says he's starting to have flashbacks. Steve Walsh, it's not Billy Joel Hobart. That dude could play some music, Billy Joel Hobart. He's moving out. It's Billy Joe Hobart. And don't forget about Sean. If you're going to talk about Billy Joe Hobart, you can't say Billy Joe Hobart without saying Billy Joe Tolliver. I still say I doubt that there have ever in NFL history been one franchise that had 2 guys named Billy Joe on their team at one time, much less both as quarterbacks. Black Preacher Man wants to know how I feel about the job Loomis has done since Sean's been gone. I mean, come on. Do I really need to answer that? All right. We're going to end the show on that note. We'll be back on Wednesday. I don't know yet if we're going to have a guest or not. I really am enjoying these sessions where it's just us talking. And it's kind of like therapy sessions, right? I mean, that's kind of where Dattitude is gone to. It's therapy. It's me, us bitching about everything. Do I feel better when the show? Sometimes. I think I feel better today than I felt when I first started. Maybe a little bit. I mean, we tell it like it is here. Y'all tell it the way you think it is. I tell it the way I think it is. And we all get to express our opinions and have fun with it. We'll see. That is going to wrap it up for us on this Monday, this Mano E Monday. Thank Gabe Henderson, not only behind the scenes, in front of the camera. We can agree to disagree. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, we were kind of agreeing on LSU's problem this past weekend. I mean, we might not have the same exact initial premise, but it goes back to the same things. And the point for LSU was if you're blaming one person or even 2 people for what happened on Saturday night, you need to check yourself because there was a lot of people. It was the whole damn team. Saints too. Randall, great show. Thank you, sir. And thank you for being. If you didn't see episode number 300 on Friday, we had fun with our listeners. We had fun. You can go back, check it out. We will be back again next on Wednesday. And then Thursday, I know we're going to have our best bet show. Wait, you know what? I take it back. Wednesday, I think, is Larry Holder. So we will have a guest. Wednesday's Larry Holder. So we probably will have a guest on Wednesday for sure. Charles, thank you. Great show. We couldn't have done it without you. Seriously. I'm not just saying that. Go LSU. Still holding you down. Me down? They're holding me down? Don't bring me down. They did a great job. All right. A reminder to subscribe to our Dattitude YouTube page. Click the little bell to receive notifications when we go on the air live every weekday, except Tuesday, 11 a.m. Central Time. Check us out. You can check me out this afternoon. I will be, as I am every Monday, on Eric Asher's show Inside New Orleans on the Ticket. It's on 106.1 FM in New Orleans area. If you're not in the New Orleans area, you can check it out. You can just find type in the Ticket New Orleans 106.1 and it'll come on. You can listen to it online. That is me this afternoon. You can also find us wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple, Spotify, and many more. And always find the replay of the show on NOLA.com/sports. Make sure to check out Gabe's work at bet.nola.com. My NFL picks column comes out on bet.nola.com every Wednesday. So if you can't wait till Thursday when I give them to you here on the air and we talk about them, you can go check it out on Wednesday. And then our Saints Insider friends working their tails off, always giving you the most up-to-date information, NOLA.com/Saints. Everyone have a great couple of days. Halloween's coming up. Maybe we'll have a spooky treat for you. I don't know what we're going to have in store for Halloween. That's coming up in a few days. Everyone have a great couple of days. We will see you on Wednesday. Take it easy, my friends.
If you're looking for the latest scoop and in-depth interviews on the Saints, the NFL, the Pelicans, LSU, along with the best bets of the week, then lucky you. Along with high-powered, in-the-know guests who cover our teams, Jim Derry brings plenty of Dattitude. And he'll always tell you the way it is, or at least the way he thinks it is.